is the great reshuffle, says Ryan Roslansky, who took charge of LinkedIn as CEO just 3 months after the COVID outbreak. He believes this is an unprecedented moment in the history of work where all of us are rethinking not just how we work, but why we work as well. LinkedIn, too, I'm sure, is posing a question to itself. How can the professional networking platform with nearly 1 billion people on it shape itself for the working life of people in a post-pandemic world? Those are some of the questions we'll get answers to. Hello and welcome to On the Record. I'm Shireen Bhan, and joining me today is Ryan Roslansky, the CEO of LinkedIn. Ryan, always a pleasure. Many thanks for joining us here on CNBC-TV18 On the Record. And it's good to have you here in India. You're in Bangalore, your first trip as the CEO of LinkedIn. But I want to start by getting a sense of you on what business confidence at this point in time looks like. It's shaken globally and it's shaken here in India as well. The war for talent clearly seems to be over. How much more pain do you anticipate on the back of what you're seeing happen on the platform? We just sort of read out a few highlights of your survey. How much more pain do you anticipate in the job market?
Hi, Shireen. First of all, it's wonderful to be here. I'm here in our Bangalore office for LinkedIn, my first trip to India as the CEO. And yeah, what a vibrant labor market we find ourselves in right now. You know, one of the things I've actually been paying attention to, which is why I'm here today in India, is running LinkedIn. We have a remarkable view of what's happening across the global labor market. To your point, you know, if you go back a year ago, it was a really, really hot market. And I think a lot of the trends, the downward trends that you see right now are really just indexing off of what was some of the heights of economic growth from a year ago. And I feel like now they're coming back down to more potentially of a normal level. But one of the things I've been paying a lot of attention to, you know, kind of from that global purview, is that as it relates to a lot of the activity that's happening right now in India on LinkedIn is just fascinating. So India, our membership in India is over-indexing on networking. They're over-indexing on skills acquired and learning. They're over-indexing on job seeking. In fact, India right now is the second largest market in terms of engagement on LinkedIn. We have roughly 97 million members. And I've only been on the ground now for a couple hours here in Bangalore, meeting with our amazing employees and some customers. And, you know, what I can feel like right now is though we may be in a bit of a lull. Where India sits in the next 10 years feel like it's really being decided right now. And this doesn't feel like a country which is just trying to create a playbook or figure out what to do, but a country that's actually really executing on a new path to economic growth. So I'm really excited to be here and just learn more in person. You know,
that's good to hear, Ryan. But what does that mean that in terms of LinkedIn's plans for India? You have a fairly large presence in Bengaluru. Are you planning to expand? Is this the right time for you to be able to do that, given the fact that India is strategically an important market for you? So what can we expect from LinkedIn for India specifically?
Yeah, you know, we're on a fiscal year calendar as a company, which means that we just ended our fiscal year as a company. We did a little bit north of $14 billion a year in revenue globally. That's growing about 17% year over year. But when you take a look at India, it's outpacing that. The revenue in India is growing at 50% year over year, north of 84% year over 2 year. We're closing in on nearly having 100 million members in India, but it goes well beyond that. We have offices in Bangalore, in Delhi, as well as Mumbai, but we have a significant R&D presence actually here in Bangalore, north of 700 R&D employees that aren't just building products for India, but are actually building out the foundation and a lot of features that power the entire global platform. And you know, I can only see a need for a lot more growth coming out of the really amazing work that's happening in this office. And so both as, you know, a market which is just going to keep growing on LinkedIn, we're really excited, but also about just continuing to grow our presence here in Bangalore as well with this amazing kind of R&D and go-to-market talent, which is helping us achieve these results right now globally.
Ryan, at this point in time, what we are seeing across the tech world, including large companies like Apple, Google, etc., either companies are laying off or they're putting a freeze as far as hiring is concerned. This tech austerity, does it impact your plans for LinkedIn, either here in India or globally?
Yeah, I mean, if you take a look over the past, 2.5 years, it's been a remarkable set of challenges to navigate through for any company, for any leader. At first when COVID happened, it was unclear what was happening and a lot of companies pulled back. Then because a lot of things moved digitally native, you saw this huge influx of demand in these tech companies. I think rightfully so, they would scale up because of that. Right now, again, you're seeing a bit of a pullback. This is all about leaders that are trying to really manage through and navigate these really unprecedented cycles across the board. As it relates to LinkedIn itself, I'm really excited that when companies do decide that they're laying people off, that employees can turn to LinkedIn to find their next opportunity. They can leverage their network. They can search for jobs. They can upskill themselves on something new. So it's really great to see that. I think through all of this, though, for CEOs and leaders across the board that are navigating through a lot of these uncertain times, it's all about just ensuring you have the right leadership mentality. You're an adaptive leader through a time like this. I think leaders can either be adaptive or reactive, but I think it's really important when there's this uncertainty that continues throughout the world to really maintain an adaptive leadership position. I think adaptive leaders always play up. When something bad or new or unique happens in the world, you have one of two choices to make. You can play up or you can play down. A lot of people play down. They play down to fear or the lowest common denominator. But I think the leaders that can really start to play up right now are the ones that are going to see the biggest gains. I think adaptive leaders also look at these opportunities, these changes in the market, as real opportunities for growth, as opposed to maybe a tax or a burden that's being placed upon them. And I think last, adaptive leaders are constantly pivoting. I think that's what you're seeing a lot of these companies do right now. It's really important to keep moving and keep pivoting to make sure that you're changing your strategy to adapt for what needs to happen across the board. So I think that as long as, at LinkedIn, we have principles around our talent strategy, our strategies are always moving around. We have no plans. We haven't announced anything as it relates to any kind of layoff or, kind of across the board for our company. We have put ourselves inside of a hiring freeze right now for various parts of the company. But again, like every other leader, we're just continuing to navigate the global strategy that we need to keep the company going, to create this platform that so many people are finding value off of right now.